we very much are focusing our thoughts on the aftermath of Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., a fight that was won in no uncertain way by Conor Benn. What next for Eubank Jr.? What, if anything, is left for Eubank Jr. in the world of boxing? A Eubank, not Eubank Sr. and not Eubank Jr., but Harlem Eubank, cousin of Chris Jr., joins us live this morning. Harlem, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Give us your take on what happened in the ring on Saturday night.
Hey, good morning. Wow, what a show. That was a great advert for British boxing. The showmanship, the production, the event was, it was amazing to see. And you have to give Conor his credit. He put on a great boxing performance to win the second fight.
In that ring, though, Harlem, be honest with us. What happened to your cousin?
I could see from round one, he had no energy. He had nothing. I'm proud of him for going 12 rounds because you could see from round one, he didn't have much to keep Conor off. And obviously he's had his own stuff going on. Which he doesn't want to detail or, talk too much about. He wants to give Conor the credit for a great boxing performance that he put on to win the second fight. So, you have to give him the credit. But, for both, I take my hat off to both of them for putting on such a great show.
I know Spencer's going to come in, Harlem. You touched on it there. He had stuff going on. What?
I mean, I'm not going to shine any light if he doesn't want to disclose, the struggles that he went through in camp. I'm not gonna detail any of that. Like I said, you have to give the credit to Conor for, changing it up and coming out on top the second time around.
Were you aware of these struggles?
Yeah, I think he's been going through some stuff for a while. I feel like as you get older, different things happen. And, as fighters, everyone goes through different stuff in camp, so it's not always singular to Chris, but, I don't feel like he was a shadow of the fighter he is there on the night. And I I see that from round one. And he done great to hang in there for 12 rounds because I don't feel like he had much to threaten Conor with in there on Saturday night.
Yeah, Harlem, I sort of agree with you on that, mate. I think that you've got to give Conor your props for the performance he put in. He had a lot of emotional pressures to deal with going into that one, mental pressures to deal with as well. And he delivered. He done what he had to do. But going back to your cousin, there's no secret that he's been struggling to make 160 for some time. And I think that when you go to the world that many times as a fighter at 36 years of age, at some point, the wheels come off. And I think that become evident. I think that, stripping down his body weight will have a lasting effect on him moving forward. The performance from the opening bell, mate, Chris Eubank said that he was in the shape of his life. The training camp had been totally different this time. He come in a pound underweight as well, so you thought, we all started believing, this will be Chris back at his best. Last time he missed the weight, he got it totally wrong, and that would have affected his performance. But from the opening bell, mate, he just looked like a totally shot fighter, like a guy that you're looking at the way that he was moving, the balance, his legs, the punch power wasn't there. He was reaching in with his shots, and you go, it reminded me of when James DeGale boxed Chris Eubank Jr. when he come to the end of his career back in 2019. And you go, sometimes a fighter passes the baton. And I think that looked like the night when Chris Eubank Jr. was passing the baton. And I'm not sure what he's got left, mate.
Yeah, so someone else had that DeGale comparison. I heard it recently. And I just feel like Chris was nowhere near the Chris Eubank Jr. that we know. But, don't take anything away from Conor, the pressure he had to come and, avenge the loss in the first fight. I feel like Chris left a lot in that first fight. There's a lot of energy.
Would
Yeah,
you be, Harlem, would you be surprised if Chris calls time in his career now?
I think Chris, as a fighter, only you can know, only you can decide, when is the right time.
Do you know what it is, Harlem? Though a fighter is the first one to know it when it's over, but the last one to admit it. And, I think that was evident going into that fight, because Chris probably knew that, after the first fight that they both had, that, look, my career is now coming to an end, but didn't want to admit it. And he thought he'd get through that training camp and he'd be able to deliver again. But then that became evident that he couldn't do that again. And I think that when he sits back, reflects on it all and has a look at that, he may look at that and go, look, listen, I'm a proud man. I've got the family name to represent. And you go, where do I go from here? Because it's not world titles now at 160, is it? Because that's become evident that he can't compete in the 160. He can't. 168 is going to be very difficult in this stage of his career. How long is it going to take before he gets a shot, even if he does get a shot? So he's in a situation where you go, if the trilogy's not there, which it clearly isn't off the back of that performance, where does he go?
Listen, I'm proud of everything he's achieved, the sport, and, what he's done for British boxing is amazing. To see the show they both put on twice is incredible, and he's become one of the best showmen of this time over in the UK. So I'm proud of everything he's achieved. I feel like he's got nothing left to prove in the sport. So it's about what he decides to do next, and that, I guess, that falls on his desire and way.
We'll wait to see what he decides on that front, Harlem. You'll carry on flying the Eubank flag, if you like, because this Friday in Brighton you fight Josh Wagner, right? How have the preparations been going?
It's been great. He's a tough challenger, top 15 in the world. I'm ready to pursue my world title dreams now. This will place me top 15 with the IBF, and I'll be looking to challenge for the world title next year. Okay,
Harlem, good luck with that on Friday, and thank you so much for joining us. Maybe it's time up for Eubank Jr. Maybe it's not. Only he will know, as we have been emphasising this morning on this very show. But a whole bunch of stuff happening in the world of boxing, not just in the ring, but out of it as well. No surprise there. Nothing really changes in that sport, does it?
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.